Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about how to actually work out your profit margin, how to actually work out how much you're going to make if you're going to make a loss, and how to increase your profits. It's going to be mainly focusing on the contract and temp market. Now, there is a calculator that my umbrella company gave me, but it's not as good as this because it just doesn't give all the information. This is a website. I don't know what these guys do, but they've got a very nice calculator on there. I'll leave the link in the description, so you can go and use it. Hopefully, I'm not promoting something that they're. Let's just see what they do as a business. I mean, I think they do an umbrella. So yeah, all those people asking me what's a good umbrella company, maybe try these guys. Yeah. So they've got a very helpful calculator, and what I'm going to talk about is most of the things that you're going to know. So your charge rate is your sort of profit, or what you're charging on top to the end client. So let's say you've got a worker that's working, let's say 40 hours a week, and the client is paying, let's say £9 per hour. Let's say they're a warehouse operative. You want to ideally charge the client 12, £13 if possible. Yeah, I'm going to show you what happens if you charge with a £1 margin. So that's what the worker gets paid, and that's what you charge the client for your worker. Yeah, so I know for a fact this is going to be at a loss. So it's going to work out a percentage here. So that's a 10% margin. So you're charging them 10% on that. However, you have to pay holiday pay, national insurance, and pension if they earn a certain amount, which they would. You would actually be at a loss of £35 just based on the costs. So their tax code would be that much. They've got to pay tax, national insurance, employer national insurance. That's employee national insurance. That's employer national insurance. That's what you have to pay. You have to obviously allocate their holiday pay legally now, and obviously pension if they earn a certain amount as well, after a certain period of time as well. So with this, you'll be making a loss of £35 and 81p. So you ideally can't charge 10% for temporary staff. Yeah. So if we switch it to, let's say, £13, it's going to show us how much we would make from a worker being paid £9, and we're charging the client £13. Yeah, based on 40 hours a week. So we would be making an £80 profit per week off those 5 days when they work. So that's a bit of a healthier margin. Now, what you will need to bear in mind with this is most clients will not pay a £4 margin unless it's short notice. So if it's short notice, so they call you on a Sunday night and they say, look, we need someone for Monday, you can get away with maybe charging £13, £15. But if you're looking at charging, hey, look, we need 3 guys to come into the warehouse, or girls, and we need them for 3 months because it's a busy period for us, you're probably going to be looking at maybe an £11.80 margin. Or if it's very high volume, like 50 people, which isn't uncommon, you could be looking at making £36.19, which doesn't seem like a lot. However, this example of warehouse recruiters is a very volume-based recruitment. So if you've got 100 people out per week, or let's say even 10 people working, which is not hard to achieve, you'll be making £360 per week in profit, which is very good. This doesn't work out. I think it works out your margin per hour. If there's a service fee charged, you can obviously do that. You might charge 3 or 4% with that. So yeah, that's pretty much how you'd work it out. The thing to bear in mind is if you are doing, let's say, I don't know, a typical engineering job or something where there's a nurse position, you're going to be paying, let's say, £25. So if we work out, let's say we're going to be charging £31, let's look at our margin off of this. So 19% probably won't make too much. Actually, you're going to make a loss. So if a nurse is being paid £25 an hour, £31 is too low. So a £6 margin would actually leave you at a loss. Now, there are things you can do with this. So obviously putting the price up per hour would increase that. So even just a slight increase gives you £100 per week. Like I said, if you've got 10 people out, that is, if you've got 10 nurses at this rate with a £9 margin, you will be making a lot more. You'll be making £1,000 per week in profit, which is extremely good. based on a temp market, if you can keep that going, it's 50 grand a year. um, that's something that anyone can achieve. You can achieve that with one client. So bear in mind, some per hour rates are £60, and you might charge £100 on top for those very senior interim positions. You could be making £900 per week, so you can make £1,000 off just one person per week. And this is not an unrealistic sort of wage. In fact, it could be up to 125 I've seen off £60 per hour. So that person is caking off 2 grand off of that worker for their service. These people are very hard to find. So I've given you 3 examples of a warehouse operative, which might be, you might end up with 100 people out, and you might be making good profit. Or you could have nurse, which is sort of the middle level, which could be making, £100 per nurse per week. Or you could make £30 per warehouse operative. Or you could make £1,000, £2,000 for a very senior IT contractor. So it's very, very, very good in terms of what you like. There's also temp to perm, which is a good sort of rate you can do. If you've got a very small margin, like £25 per week, there might be a buyout clause at the end after 3 months, so they have to pay you £1,000, £500, 2 grand, or the month's salary in order to take that worker on full time. So there are other ways you can make money through temporary recruitment. Temporary recruitment is a slow burner. Warehouse operatives are good. You just put them in. You've got your client. The hard thing is actually finding good people. Nurses, IT, they're typically the contract locum market. They're hard to do. But this example could be for a doctor, for example, and you'll be making 2 grand, and most people would, believe it or not, would be happy to pay that, especially if it's a very specialist doctor, and the doctor's getting paid pretty decent, so that they prefer it and they like it. So hope this video helped explaining how to work it out. I'll put this link in the description so you can go ahead, quote some clients if you like, go back to them. Don't make a mistake of saying, look, I charge £9 and I'm going to give it to you for £10.50, and you're thinking in your head, I'm going to make £1.50 per hour. They're going to be working 40 hours. I'm going to make 50, 60 quid. Actually, with all the costs deducted, you're making a loss. So you want to be at 20% at least, sort of margin off anything you charge. So if it's £100 per hour, you have to charge at least £20 on top, or thereabouts. Sorry, my maths is a bit terrible on that. I don't think that works out right. But you want to be making some sort of profit like that. You don't want to be doing it for £10 a week. It's not worth it. It's not worth the hassle. So you want to have at least 20-25% margin or more per hour. And that works. That's the same per week, per day. And this is only for temp contractor market. So I hope this video helps. Let me know if you've got any questions.